All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Hard Count. I'm Michael Emami, and I recently spoke with Mullen High School quarterback Blake Palladino. Palladino is a member of the 2024 class and currently stands at 6 foot 3 inches and 195 pounds. Living in Colorado, Palladino and I talked about how he is from a state with a high altitude and how it can give him an advantage in playing within states near sea level through the endurance he builds up. Had a couple of Colorado kids on here as well. It's always great and fascinating to talk with them about that, as well as his experience this year navigating a season through the COVID-19 pandemic, as so many of you have done, as well as the fact that Palladino is also a scuba diver. So we had a pretty cool conversation about that as well. I think you guys will really enjoy it. All right, everybody, here is Blake Palladino. Enjoy. So tell me a little bit about your season so far, high school program and stuff like that. How'd you guys kind of navigate COVID?
Yeah, we had a shortened OTAs, and we had like practices and OTAs go all the way through September because our season got pushed back until October. So that was tough with the OTAs all the way through September, not even having a game till like October 14th. And then, yeah, I had to beat out some other quarterbacks over that time, 3 other ones coming in as a freshman. And I only got to play a 2.5 game season because of that abbreviated season. And it didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but it was a great experience.
Okay, yeah, that's good to hear. And so kind of tell me about what happened during those 2.5 games that you played. What kind of happened during your development, and what kind of changed with you in terms of a quarterback play this year?
Well, I definitely learned a lot over those 2 games. The upperclassmen really had my back, and that was helpful. And I got to learn a lot about defenses and the speed of the game at the high school level compared to like middle school and youth ball.
Yeah. And so tell me a little bit more about that transition. What was playing in middle school like versus playing in high school at this point?
Well, playing in middle school, you pretty much had 1-2 reads max, and then it's run. High school was a lot different. I'd have to throw it because you can't really get it done alone on your legs at the high school level because the other guys on the defense are as fast as you, especially being a young quarterback.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit about your head coach and your relationship with them and kind of how that's worked out this year.
I have a great relationship with my head coach. He's a really great guy, Jeremy Bennett. This was his first year last year, so we're going to kind of get to develop together as coaches and a player. So that's going to be great. It's going to be a cool experience.
Okay, yeah. And I know you're a little young at this point, but have you heard from any colleges at all, or have you spoken with anybody or any interest to this point?
I've had a couple coaches send me emails and DMs asking me to fill out like recruiting questionnaires, like just like generally liking my post or like comments.
Okay.
And I've definitely seen like an increase in attention since I've like started going to camps and stuff. So that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And so what kind of camps have you gone to? Have you done like 7v7? Has there been anything that you've done specifically?
Yeah, I'm on a 7-on-7 team called Team Full Gorilla, and we travel. It's the #1 7-on-7 team in Colorado. And then I also went to the Next Gen camp in Nashville, the VIQV college, and that was a great experience. I got to meet a lot of cool coaches and learn a lot of good things.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring up something interesting here because I've had a couple of, I think, Colorado kids on here. I know I've had one for sure. But I wanted to ask you about the air kind of thinness and air quality there and kind of the difficulty in terms of adapting your body. I know that Olympians train in Denver. I know that for certain because of the difficulty there at the mile-high kind of altitude that you've got. What's kind of that like in an experience for you, being an athlete in Colorado and kind of adapting to that?
Well, I'm born and raised, so I'm definitely used to it. I don't really feel anything like that anymore. I've never felt anything with the altitude. But when I go to sea level locations, I feel like I have a lot more endurance and stuff, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So do you think that gives you kind of an advantage and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's kind of an interesting thing with Colorado kids. They're kind of born into athletes because they just have that endurance and that kind of adaptation. And when they go to sea level places, they just kind of they perform better typically, and that's something that's pretty crazy there too. So the other thing that I wanted to bring up was tell me a little about your family life and stuff like that. Tell me about your parents and your relationship with them.
I have a really good, I guess I have a really good relationship with my parents. My dad and mom have been very supportive with my sports. My dad got me into football at a young age, and that's how I got into it. He's been taking me to everything and traveling with me out of state and paying for camps and attending them with me and being really supportive altogether.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And so how do you kind of go about balancing sports and academics?
Well, I always go with academics first. I have to have good grades, in order to play. So I always really focus on that. I have to set aside an hour or two every night for academics so I can study.
If college is going to take you, what's kind of the first thing you'd want a college or program to know about you if they're going to take you?
I'm the quarterback they're looking for. I guess I'm the leader and the all-around athlete and the competitor that'll win for them.
Do you have any hobbies outside of football or anything like that? Anything you do outside of football?
I'm really into fishing and outdoors since I live in Colorado. I go fishing a lot in the mountains, and when I go down to like Hawaii and Florida, I always go fishing there. And that's been one of my big hobbies. I'm also a certified scuba diver, and I like doing that with my brother.
Oh, really? Wow. So have you gone scuba diving at any really cool places?
Yeah, I've gone in Hawaii at Honolulu before, and that was fun.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really, really cool. And so do you play any other sports at all? Is it just football for you, or are you kind of a multi-sport athlete?
I run track, and I also play baseball.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and so that season's obviously coming up with or finished within the spring, right?
Yep. It's back into football season almost.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. And so this is the hardest question that I'm going to ask right now. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. If you were to get drafted by an NFL team, what would be your preferred team you want to get drafted by?
I've always been a Cowboys fan growing up. So it'd be definitely Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. You like Dak Prescott?
I love Dak Prescott. My favorite quarterback is Tony Romo.
That's
why I'm normally at number 9.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it. You have a good night. Thank you so much.
You too, man.
All right, bye-bye. Thanks. All right, everybody. That was Blake Palladino out of Denver, Colorado. If you'd like to contact Blake, his Twitter account is @PalladinoBlake, and that's spelled PalladinoBlake, and I'll be sure to post his Huddle link and information below as well, so you guys can find that. Also, if you'd like to contact me, my Twitter account is @ImamiMichael. Both my Facebook and Instagram are @TheHardCount with Michael Emami. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. That'd be much appreciated. And the Snapchat is Michael Emami. So those are all the socials for you. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening and tuning into this episode. This has been The Hard Count. Do you have what it takes to go to E1?